Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And thank you for joining me in this quantum conversation where we are in a powerful place of creating the new from our sacred heart. I know that we are each feeling the clarion call to really step it up in a big new way. Some of us may feel antsy for change or itchy with the old as we truly continue to release old patterns. My guest today is here to assist us with a quantum leap in transformation by clearing the last vestiges of blocks, barriers, limitations, and self-sabotaging beliefs so that we can now truly stand in our power. We are going to be spending the next hour with Dorian Light, who is here to share her powerful message and a personal process of what is the possibility of. I've used this in my own life, and I share it with you today because I find it to be one of the most simplest and effective ways to open ourselves up to new inspiration and truly free ourselves from limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. Dorian Light, sister, goddess, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you, Goddess. This is exciting, Goddess.
Talk about stepping into the new and what is the possibility of. Isn't it interesting when we stretch ourselves to doing new things, it's kind of scary. So share a little bit about why that is and then what we can do to really center ourselves and fortify ourselves against that and really go forward with confidence.
Well, it's part of that old monkey mind control of the fear of the unknown. And so many light workers have had this for many eons of time of not only being fearful of stepping back into their power, but what does it look like, right? And so, when we start talking about the new, there are old patterns that can be in the psyche, in the subconscious, and in the soul's memory banks that have been operating from eons of time. For a lot of us who have stood in our power and spoken our truth and lived our truth and walked our truth at times in different lifetimes and been harmed for it, been killed, tortured, incarcerated. So when we start moving many times for the new, if there's some hesitancy or resistance, then there's something there that's still either you're using as a defense mechanism trying to protect you, or you're just fearful of, or there's some kind of pattern or program. Now this can be, Goddess, as we know, not just created while we've been in form, incarnated. This can actually be bleaching and leaching over from alternate lifetimes that are running, simultaneously. Because remember, for those of you who don't understand simultaneous time, really all time is simultaneous time. It really is. And so I talk about past lives a lot, but all your lifetimes are going at the same time. So there's all different reasons why we can get in a little bit of fear or trepidation about the new, because if the ego is still operating, it's fearful of the unknown. So we always want to know, right? We don't have to know. We're going to that place, Goddess, where we don't have to know, because we're starting to step into those observer spaces where we have that confidence. It's clicking in as we're going through our whole spiritual process for many of us, like that space of, I'm not quite so antsy about things anymore, because now we're going into that observer mode. Many of us are. For those that aren't yet, you'll be getting there, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening right now, especially with the shifting and shaking and the transmuting of the heavy darkness coming up. Lots of stuff going on, Goddess, but it's going to be a great adventure this year.
It is a great adventure, and we all have to stay very centered. It's interesting that we still get sparked by some things, or we get irritated by some things, but that's really what we're doing as we're learning to be more in this observer state, the mode. When we first start to move into that observer mode a little bit stronger, a little bit easier, a little bit more consistently, it's almost like we're starting to see the matrix. We do see where these belief systems really hold us back, or where that matrix is trying to keep us in that paradigm. So it's very interesting. It's also wonderful to know that we don't have to know about all of those past lifetimes or parallel lifetimes. In our episode today then, Dorian, we are going to allow you to talk about what is the possibility of. And I mentioned earlier that this is really powerful because it does begin to show us where we come in and destroy the dreams and ideas that we have. I'll let you explain what the possibility is in the process, but it's very powerful because it truly does open us up to new inspiration.
Absolutely, Goddess. Years ago, I believe I was still in the charismatic church, I don't know, but years ago I was playing around with affirmations. And, some of them just weren't working. And I went, okay, universe, what's the deal here? And, of course, the universe said, you can't conceive what you don't believe. So if you're out there going, I am prosperous, and you have patterns and programs within you that are saying, no, you're not, or you've got contracts that you can't be, or you've made some kind of oath to poverty somewhere in some lifetime. Plus, we've talked about, we had a class with you, I think it's part of our packages, the original cause programming, where at the very beginning, when we stepped down from the higher density worlds, and we had to compress ourselves down into, so to speak, a box in order to come down into the lower worlds of the astral, causal, etheric, mental, emotional, and physical. That's really where it all began. That's where we went, oh my gosh, did I get kicked out of heaven? Where's source? I'm separated. Oh my gosh, I must be broken. God doesn't love me anymore. And so we started creating in all those belief systems and patterns. So we started doing this long before we came into form. And so when I was going, okay, well, these things aren't working. How do I bust through it? And the universe says, don't affirm something that may not be your truth. Because many of us have really had some really hard lifetimes. And we've gotten to a point where we're so downtrodden, we don't even believe there's any kind of possibility that anything can change for us. So whatever the belief system or the pattern or program or experience or whatever's stored in the psyche and the soul's memory banks, if it's still there, you can affirm to the cows come home that you're prosperous, and it's not going to change. So that's it. Okay, what can I do to help people? And this is before I was really even doing this work. I was just looking for it for myself. What can I do to help myself? How do I put this out there? And the universe says, put it out as a question. So now you're going, hey, universe, I'm here. Okay, I'm ready. What's the possibility? And so I started using it. And I tell you what, I used it on a Monday, and on a Wednesday, I was looking for extra income. I got a $5,000 check in the mail from an anonymous person. And come to find out, long story short, it was from someone I had not seen or heard from since I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
That was 41 years. So the universe showed me how it could work. So I said, okay. So when I started doing this work out here, trying to help others, I said, what is a blanket statement that we could all use, okay, to really step into our power, really step into our authentic truth? What kind of statement could actually start helping to dismantle those programs? Now, the universe showed me, I can't prove this scientifically, but it showed me that by using this statement that I'm going to give everyone, and we're going to clear around it today, because when you work with me personally, I can see where you don't believe it, right? But when we work as a group, I can see as a group consciousness we don't believe it. But when you use it, a lot of people don't have an opportunity to work with me. So by just using it, it starts dismantling. Now, it's not a magic wand. You can't use it once or twice, and it's, you're going to do like I did, but I've been working on it, right? I've been working on myself. That's why I can manifest from, Monday to Wednesday. But I was really working on this. So for those who go, oh, I used it once or twice, and nothing worked, then, like I said, it's not a magic wand. But what it can do is start taking that part of you all the way back to your cosmic self, all the way back to the time you were playing in other dimensional worlds that you don't have a clue about, okay? And we were out of form, and we start creating from that original cause program of, oh my gosh, I'm broken now. I feel separated from source. And it can start taking you from that space of limited lack, need, struggle, everything that you created for you and your belief systems, and it can create a new neural pathway or an entrainment over to the part of you, that infinite part of you that knows that you're a powerful being of the light, you're a powerful manifester, and that you can create anything in your world, right? So I said to the universe, okay, what's a blanket statement here? And the universe gave me this. What is the possibility that I can successfully step into and live my soul's purpose with ease, grace, and joy? That covers everything. So let me explain a little bit. What is the possibility? Okay, so what happens, like I said, some people have had such difficult lives. There's a part of them that doesn't even believe there's a possibility. Now, I've had people say to me, well, I believe there's a possibility, but in their unconscious, in their subconscious, in their psyche, they don't. Or if they have a program in there that's running that says, look at all the hard lifetimes you've had, there's no possibility, okay? So when you say, what is the possibility, you're putting it out there. You're putting it out as an open-ended question in the universe. Hey, okay, it's time. What is the possibility that I can successfully, not successful, huge charge, and I'm watching it right now in the energy field, and there's a huge charge around success. Because most of us think of success around money. And money is the number one charge on the planet. Second is sex and sexuality. So successful means abundance and well-being in all areas of your life. Not just around abundance and cash flow money, but around, being successful and then well-being in all areas of your life, in your relationships, in your friendships, in your partnerships, in your career. So that's a big one that we charge up to. And when I said it, the audience that's listening, the listeners, just, there was a charge to it. Okay? Step into, you're saying, universe, what are the next steps? What are the steps that I need to take, or I synchronously come into my life where I can get to that place, where I can step into? What are those steps to live, okay, my soul's purpose, to take ownership of it with ease, grace, and joy? Now, ease is another one, because so many of us have struggled for so long. Okay, so ease is like, there's no ease. This thing's hard. Life's a struggle. All those old patterns of it's hard, it's just grueling, all those patterns. Now, grace is a true living consciousness. It is a part, she is a part of the divine feminine aspect of Mother God. And we know that Mother God, when we call upon the grace of God, we call upon the beautiful, unconditional love and the nourishment and the compassion. But grace also is as an action consciousness. And it loves to bring God's or the universe's or spirit or source, whatever you want to say, that favor upon your life. And she will go to and fro setting up those synchronicities for you. And then we want it with joy. Right, Goddess? I mean, our souls are longing for freedom. We're longing for joy, for play, for fun, for passion in our work, for passion in our lives, and for freedom to really step into the truth and the light of who we really are, uncovered from all this mud and muck that's been on us for eons of time with all these old patterns and belief systems and garbage. We want to know who we are. We want to fall back in love with ourselves, and we want to be able to stand in the light of our truth.
Absolutely. We are so ready to do that as we're watching old paradigms literally crumble around us. That is the call. This really is a time of the end of complacency. We can feel it in our own lives in so many ways. You know, that is beautiful. That's a really powerful technique. What is the possibility of? And in my own life, it really has, as I mentioned, opened me up to some wonderful things. I've done a personal session with you, Dorian, and it was incredible what I learned about myself and how I integrated a part of myself that I actually have come to sense was there. And ever since that time, I've seen, even in my own life, this stepping up in a big way, in a way of grace. So that is lovely. I want to mention to our audience as well that you personally have a miraculous story. You cured yourself of 5 brain tumors. Can you quickly share that story?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's see. I'm not sure if it's before my near-death experiences. I've had 3. How many people have 3, right? But what happened was I wasn't having any symptoms, but I was going to a holistic doctor, and we did some testing because I'd been thrown to the windshield of a car in 1980. That was one of my near-death experiences. So they always had to do MRIs on my neck and my brain because I had to learn how to walk again. It took me a year and a half to walk again. Excuse me. So it was during one of these processes that we were doing that, and some pretty advanced DNA processing, that it came back that I had 5 astroblastoma cytomas. And what those are, they're tiny, tiny, tiny little cancerous brain tumors that literally can be there your whole life, and you could probably live your whole life with them as long as they don't grow. But the problem is, if they start growing, they can grow exponentially. And at the time, I had gone from being a paralegal of 22 years to a medical esthetician, and it was kind of funny. I had 2 brain tumor specialists that went to me, as well as another breast tumor specialist, and they all concurred with me about these particular types of tumors. And they said the only thing that you could do is wait for them to get big enough, and then the only thing you could do to stop them would be using a gamma knife at that time. This was quite a few years ago. And I'm like, no way. Now, I really came from the charismatic church, and even though I had, as a teenager, I was in the charismatic church, I had my brother had a healing ministry. He was a hands-on healer, and I saw miraculous healing events. But I never considered myself a healer, especially for myself. And so what I did was I said, okay, there's this energy that, I could tap into as a child, as a medium. There's this source energy. Surely there's a way I can tap into this. So this is where I really started doing the energy work. I really started, it was like me being the guinea pig for what I soon then started offering to others when I was doing a lot of hands-on healing, was to absolutely go into that space of time travel. In a way, what I did was I started time traveling, and I went back to the time that I didn't have this. And then I obliterated it out of my field. And then the next thing you know, the next MRI I went in for, there were 5 of them. I think there were 3 showing up. And then when I went in for the next MRI, they were all gone. And I have MRIs every year, and they've never shown up again. And that was because I think I really, Loren, it's called, I think, in many ways, surrender. And I got to that level of surrender to knowing that I'm an infinite being. And yes, we are in a body that hurts and bleeds and dies, but everything else, it really is an illusion. It's what we created for ourselves. So what were my patterns of suffering? What were my patterns of illness that I've had? What were my belief systems around this, right? What were my emotional hiccups with it? What was ingrained in me emotionally that would create anything like cancer in the first place, much less a brain tumor. So, and then I think even at that time, even though I didn't word it like this, what is the possibility? I was putting that out to the universe. What is that possibility, universe, that I can step in that space where I can step beyond this illusion and go into the reality of the truth of who I am without it. And I also broke contracts with my body. That's really important to do. Because many of us have contracts with our body, and we have contracts to suffer. And so all this needs to be completely cleaned out, because we're at a point now where we've been paddling and paddling. I've got people coming to me, oh my gosh, Dorian, I've been doing this for 30 years, so I feel like I'm in the same space. And we've been paddling and paddling so hard trying to figure out our purpose and then trying to figure out what we're supposed to do and how do we send even higher, faster, stronger. And it's to a point now where really we're exhausted, to the point where it's like, just throw the paddle in the river and let the stream, let the river turn your canoe around and go into that stream of divine destiny, our divine destiny stream, where we fall back in love with ourselves, where we release all this stuff, we allow ourselves to step into the fullness of who we are. And this is where being the observer really will eventually take you to that surrender state. And that's a really cool place, and it can be a very uncomfortable getting there, because we're attached. We're attached to the human condition. We came down here and bought into all the belief systems we created down here, and we're attached. So now we're detaching. And so it can be very uncomfortable, because as the ego is loosening up and letting go, and some people say it's dying, but it's letting go and giving the rudder over to the higher self. I'm going into another subject, but it can really get uncomfortable. But it's a beautiful space to be, because the biblical thing that's the passage says you can't put new wine into old skins, right? That's in the Bible, and that's what we're doing. We're emptying out, emptying out, emptying out. And I believe there are many of us on this planet that will be able to empty out to the point. Now that means also allowing the body to heal, okay? And because I believe the body is a separate entity with its own karma and contracts that allowed us to incarnate in the first place to have an experience. When we can allow all that to empty out, which we are doing, many of us are doing very diligently, and this is what this new year is really going to help us to continue to do at even a greater power, is that's when that higher density of who we truly are, that higher consciousness that we truly are, can come in and merge into the body. And then we can walk the planet as embodied masters. Now, this is a process, and what this statement, what is the possibility, is one of those, if you can memorize it, listen to this replay, what is the possibility, universe, that I can successfully step into and live my soul's purpose with ease, grace, and joy?
That is a powerful and such a beautiful process. Dorian, thank you. Yes, you really are assisting us in embodying our higher self and being the embodied master. Okay, allowing, surrendering, being the observer. These are all skills that we are learning, and it's so important. Okay, we're going to go on a group process now. Let's talk a little bit about this light language. It's fascinating when it comes through. I know our listeners will experience this in their bodies, so pay attention to that. The psychic energetics as well. This is your healing technique. So talk a little bit about that, and then lead us straight into our group process, clearing.
Perfect. Okay, so psychic energetics is just something that the universe asked me to use to describe my ability to go into people's fields and psychically see what is going on in their field that's sabotaging their lives in all lifetimes, in all dimensions in time and space, and also to see their parallels and their alternates and other aspects of self that are out there that can be sabotaging. So for me, the word psychic was a no-no, being a Christian, and so it was a very hard thing for me to do, use the word psychic because it was so ingrained in me. So it was just another way of me clearing out some of the old belief systems for myself. Now, the language of light, I've had it since I was 16. And when I received it, I really didn't know what the heck was going on, other than the fact that it was for us in the Charismatic Church, it was our prayer language, where we could speak directly from our soul to Creator. And so it was a prayer language for me. But I have to tell you, it was very powerful because I got it, let's see, I was probably more like almost 17, getting ready to graduate from high school, and went to college and actually used it against, it's the only thing I knew to use against a group of warlocks and witches that were doing animal sacrifices on my college campus that came against me. And I saw how powerful it was. And so over the years, until I started doing this work and the universe asked me to start speaking it, and now it wants me to start singing it, it showed me that the language of light, the universe was created by sound. It was. And the language is really not a language, it's sound. It's sound, it's vibration, it's tone. And that so much of it was created through the sound, the toning, and the vibrational frequencies of that. So in this language, in my language of light, because many people are starting to speak. Now, not everyone's speaking the language of light. A lot of them are speaking their galactic languages. They're starting to speak their native tongues that they've had when they've been in form. They're starting to speak some of their shaman languages. I mean, there's all kinds of things coming forth. Not saying that they're not powerful. They are. They are powerful in their own right. But they're also, in my viewpoint, the true language of light. And I believe we all have it in us to be able to speak it. So my intention today is I want to clear around what is this possibility, but I also want to go deep within you and go into your fields as a group, and let's clear all the way back to the original cause programming so that we can clear the original root of where all these belief systems came from that have been sabotaging you through eons of time. The language that I'm going to be speaking, and sometimes I'll tone or sing. I'm a little scratchy in my voice today, so it just depends on what my voice can pull through. But it goes into what I call the key codes. The universe showed me there's key codes, okay? And now you're going, okay, quit talking, Dorian. I hear some of you, quit talking and just give me the stuff. You're getting it. By me saying this, see, my words go deeper than words. I go into about 5 or 6 different dimensions as I'm explaining to you. So my mouth is just going, but I'm working on other dimensional spaces. So everybody take a breath. Okay. So for those of you who are new to my work, the language can go in, and if you took a stick figure and you said that was your light body and you put the 10 strands of DNA that the scientists have said it was junk, that they are now knowing that it's not junk DNA, what the universe did was create fail-safe vaults so that we as humans would never come online with our light body or those pure strands of DNA if we still had mutations and distortions in our field, because it would doom humanity forever. There's nothing we could do. So these external key codes are where the core issues of all that stuff you've been trying to peel as an onion, you keep peeling like an onion, peel like an onion, and then get to that key code. And the key code is like the vault that holds everything, that protects the light body and those pure strands of DNA. Once we clear all that key code vault stuff, it helps, the language helps to do that, but it also helps to activate, okay, an internal key code that all of you have in you. All of you have programs of light packets, key codes already within you, and that's why you're starting to come online faster and faster as you are actually stepping into the surrender, the observer surrender mode, and allowing the truth of who you are to come through. All right. Take a breath. That helps some people. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to speak a little language here first. Then I'm going to go into what is the possibility, and I'm going to go in first, what is the possibility? So clearing around what is the possibility for some of you. You've been in such a quagmire, you don't feel like there is one. So let's clear that out so you can truly believe this as you express it out through the year to help you create your dreams. There we go. Kush o atlan ekere sasun de kishin ekere puto sonono. Ekepetisi ketere seratushi ketere sanan arepiat. Everyone take a breath here. Some heavy resistance is coming through. Let's go back to the original cause programming for every one of you. And let's go into everything that you felt, you experienced, you bought into, you believed about separation being broken, everything that the trauma that you experienced. That's key for us to be able to really dismantle all these other subset programs, because that's all they are. Everything you've been dealing with is just a subset belief system and program that you've been running on. And it can be deep, deep, deep in the psyche. Yeah, there we go. And see, the psyche, what happens is it's carried in the psyche, it's run through the human filters, you go back to the other side, your soul's like, soul doesn't judge it, the soul doesn't have any problems with it, but what happens is because the program in the psyche, then you create the next lifetime with the same patterns and programs until you become awake and aware enough to say, dadgummit, that's it, I'm done. I'm breaking it over me. I might be breaking over my ancestry. That's it. Okay, there we go. Siput on anin. Okay, I'm hearing a tone. Now remember, a lot of things that were created in your field by tones. Things happened where we had lifetimes, they created tones over us. A lot of Luciferians did this so that we can break free. When I hear a tone like this, it's breaking you free. Okay. Okay, we're now into successfully. Let's go around success because that came flying in here. End. Okay. Perfect. So that's got it started. We need to get going here. Step into what's going to take, okay? Do you believe that there's anything that could show up in your life to step into? Because now you're putting it out to the universe. Yeah. So stepping into everything that is going to happen for you to move forward, to truly release all obstacles, fall back in love with yourself, and step into your purpose and power as an infinite being of the light, and into your truth. Yeah. Everybody take a breath. Now, this is just starting it for you. It's going to keep going through your field because some of you have much deeper seated patterns, okay? So this is a practice you're going to have to keep playing it, using it. What is the possibility? Okay. And live. Take ownership. It's time for our freedom. It's time for us to step into the power of that freedom and into the truth of who we truly are. Yeah. With absolute ease. So all those struggle patterns going all the way back to the original cause. Now remember, many of us played in other dimensional spaces long before we ever came into form, after we stepped down into the lower world. So I want to clear every one of you, I want to reclaim every one of you that has been stuck in the astral plane between lifetimes. So there's some astral imprinting here. It's showing up, and so I want to reclaim all of you from the astral, calling you back. Excuse me, the universe says I have the power to pull you back in. Also, I want to put up a barricade between you and any other lifetime, any aspect of you that's out there in other dimensional spaces that are not ready for your freedom, okay? They might be needing to play something out still that you don't need anymore. So I'm going to put a barricade up between you and all aspects of you that are playing, allowing them to step into your freedom anytime they want, which many times they do, even before the end of the session. But they can step into your freedom, but they cannot sabotage your world anymore. Many of you say to me, Dorian, I'm going along, I think things are really starting to pick up for me, and bam, it's like this brick wall or invisible wall comes down. Or all of a sudden, something you dealt with 20 years ago all of a sudden comes slamming into your life, and you're going, what the heck is this? Many times it's a bleed over from that aspect of you. Now, we know we want to clear. Now, I'm working at the same time. We know we want to heal all aspects of ourselves and bring ourselves back into one unified field of oneness. We're in the process of that, but we're not there yet. So for all those aspects of you that are out there still doing their own thing that's sabotaging you, there's a barricade. So remember to remind, and when something starts to happen, hey, I got a barricade here, okay? No bleeding through, so let's clear the bleed over. Yeah, that's the only way you're going to step into your power here. We can't have something else sabotaging you, and that could be an aspect of you. Okay, there we go. Woo! Okay. I'm hearing a so all kinds of tones are coming through. Some of them I can't even begin to reach today. I'm not going to try, but I'm working with them on a cosmic level. Wow, I'm down in a deep, dark hole. I always do that when there's some deep stuff here. So my intention is to bring in the ease, clearing everything around that, asking for grace to come in and bring the favor upon your life, to bring those synchronicities, clearing all resistance to even believing that that can happen, and joy. Oh my goodness, we want the joy. We're longing for joy. Yeah. I'm going fast because we only have so many minutes, and I know Lorraine wants to do some Q&A. But just know this, it doesn't matter how fast I did it or how much I yacked, because I want you to understand I am working in 5 or 6 other dimensional spaces, okay, where you have been or are right now in other dimensional spaces, all the way back to the very beginning of when you stepped down out of the higher worlds into the lower realms, and then into your incarnations. There we go. Now, talking directly to your soul. Some galactic there. Ay, asawa na kwen na kakia tutuha. Niki sinis. Niki kotosos. Kia nayanant kiasat. Kiasato. Ay, petariri. Seeking one diamond, okay, dismantling and reintegrating. Okay, this is going to keep going through your fields throughout the day, and for many of you into your sleep space. Okay, so the big thing is to allow, and I always give a disclaimer. This was, fast and furious, but I give a disclaimer here that this can be very subtle. I think even you, Loren, didn't really feel much maybe for a little while, and all of a sudden, bam, it hit you. Or it can be profound. I've had people flat on their backs for 3 weeks. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody, but the best thing to do is drink lots of water, put your feet on the earth, take an Epsom salt bath so take a cup of Epsom salts and a 1/4 cup of baking soda. If you don't have a tub, get yourself some sea salt or kosher salt, put a little body oil in it, scrub your body always towards the heart. Not only will your skin be beautiful, but the salt will start detoxifying you. All right, everybody take a breath. Wow. Wow, is your field changing. Woo. So something comes up, release, and let it go, knowing that it can be part of a detox here. We can detox in emotions, through the body, through the mental processes. We can have all kinds of detox. And there's some deep patterns here. Yeah. Okay, give me just a second. So Damate just came into the field here, and Damate means know who you are. It's a symbol. The Damate symbol is part of the crystal pyramid of the sun. It is a true dimensional pyramid. I saw 31 years ago, 3 months before my brother's death process. I went into an open vision, went into the meadow of life, and saw this pyramid way off in the distance, or a crystalline structure. I couldn't even tell it's a pyramid. When these symbols started coming to me in 2009, Damate was the first. I still didn't really have a clue until eventually it showed me that at the time I saw it 31 years ago, it was 12th dimensional. It's now 16th. It just came into all your field, and what it does is helps to clear everything that you are not, so you can step into the magnificence and light of who you are. So it means know who you are. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, so big patterns still going through. So I will check in with the group energy throughout the day, because some of this is really deep. It's going all the way back to the very beginning of when you decided to come out of the higher worlds of that Garden Eden bliss state where you were creating as a single soul after you came down out of the Godhead into these lower worlds. Okay? And that's where it all started for us. All right. There we go. Oh, that looks much better. Everyone take a breath. Fast, furious. The energy was fast and furious. Now feel it. Calm. There's a calmness coming for every one of you. I can feel it. Your energy fields are not, it was like a kaleidoscope or a dishwasher, the way it was. And now it's just very calm, peaceful. Yeah. So we did a quick, fast action dishwasher cleansing, and now you're calming down, and you're reintegrating, because we shook you up on many levels. Yeah. Nice. Perfect. And so it is. Everyone, big breath. Did you feel that calm start, Lorraine? It was just like,
Yes, it ended. We are in that beautiful, high vibratory, calm space. You know, that was so beautiful, Dorian. New sounds came from you. When we went through those first few tones, there was a buzzing in my crown chakra, a fluttering vibration later in the second tone, and so beautiful and interesting, those galactic languages as well. And the singing that comes through, goodness, that is a whole new level. So thank you. Yes, we are feeling this time to really step up into our power, to take that ownership and step into the freedom of creating it. So yes, you know, when you were talking about people getting ready for the walls to come down or experience these shifts, I'd like to also say get ready to create from the new, because when we change and remove these limiting belief patterns, we get to create from that sacred heart now, and that really is where our power is. And so thank you for this beautiful, beautiful session. I want to remind our audience to check in with Quantum Conversations at acoustichealth.com, and you can catch Dorian Light in the archives of Quantum Conversations, and also there's some online healing retreats. I also want to mention that your special offer is a personal session with you and some of your highly energized audio recordings. That is all available on the special offer. Dorian, you can make a quick comment about that, because there's one last thing before we go today that I want to have you talk about from some questions from our audience. But talk a little bit about what a session with you is like.
Okay, so when we do a session, I love it to be interactive because talking and interacting is, I think, vitally important. But what I do is I try to go into your field, and what the universe does is it brings up the most current, or the things that are most important to really start clearing for you. So I can be all over the map. I mean, I can be like, oh, wait a minute, there's, I could start like 5 processes within you at one time, or I can just stay in one, because that one is the core that has all the subset programmings involved. So we go into also not just you, but your ancestry. What did your ancestry align you to? And many of our ancestors got aligned to some Luciferian programs and other things. So we look into that, because remember, when you are a part of an ancestry, you're aligned to whatever the ancestry has vowed, or they have done as a ritual, or a baptism, or alignment. So it's I try to do very interactive and make it, fun, but really intense, because I'm hanging above the planet most of the time anymore, and I'm seeing at a different level. So many times, even though I'm speaking to you and you're hearing certain words, something totally different that I can't even put into words is happening on a very multidimensional level with you. And sometimes I can't even say anything. I can't even speak the language, because I'm so deep into the field of where you are, and I'm hearing tones and sounds and seeing symbols that I would never recognize here, normally, knowing that they're dismantling and changing and moving and removing, and you're recalibrating. So it can be a lot of fun. It can be very intense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Again, personally, my session with you was extraordinary and really just incredible. So we recommend that as well. Again, that's on the special offer button on this webpage. And there's some beautiful audios there. We're going to let our listeners check that out, and they can read about those audios. Dorian, would you like to add anything about this?
And I just want you to know, for these audio packages too, the energies are constantly changing. So even though I might have recorded something even a year ago, every single one of my products, their energies are shifting, and I have people emailing me every day going, oh my gosh, it's totally different than the last time I listened to it. So just remember, that's how fast the energies are changing, shifting, shaking, and rearranging.
Beautiful work, Dorian Light. Again, check out that special offer that is available. We thank you so much for that. Okay, we've got less than 2 minutes, and I want to combine 2 questions because it's a common one, and I was going to talk about this too. Third eye and pineal gland. Can you share any thoughts on this and what we can do to expand that? And maybe there's a tone that you want to bring forth to assist.
Yeah, I love the higher mind exercise that, of course, we don't have time to go into it, but the higher mind exercise, I believe, Loren, that was on our 3-hour healing retreat on the original cause. It's at the very end of that. But that's a really cool exercise you can do. But in the meantime, let me see if I am hearing a tone. Okay, let me see, because it's really high. And when I was doing that, I was adjusting the left and right hemisphere of all of your brains. I can do that as a group. So as the toning was going on another dimensional space, I was balancing the left and right hemisphere so that we calibrate and open up the pituitary pineal medulla oblongata, so that it'll even open up more to your soul star, central sun, and of course the source.
Thank you. Definitely felt that one again. That was just incredible. I know that many were feeling that as well. I'll share personally, that was a very high pitch, and then I felt it later in my aura down around my hips. Isn't that fascinating? I know it's different for everyone, but that is wonderful. Dorian Light, we look forward to having you on Quantum Conversations again. I invite our listeners to check out your special offer, again, with that Original Cause online healing retreat. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, thank you. We will give you a hug from our Sacred Heart to yours. Namaste.
Love to everyone. Namaste.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this program, please share it with your friends and loved ones. And we thank you for shining your magnificent light and adding it to the world. This is when we love ourselves like no one else can. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.